Hello everyone, welcome to the Anime Recap Media YouTube channel. Please like the video, subscribe to help our channel and enjoy this full video.
Back at Fatoa, Eris' grandfather was blamed for the situation at the city after the mana surge, stripped of his position and executed before the king. Rudius and his party had no choice but to stay in Doldia village for the next 3 months due to the start of the rainy season. During this time, Eris became friends with the beast children, including Tana, the daughter of Guise, the village's best warrior. However, when the name of Ghislaine was mentioned, the group was met with a negative reaction. Guise explained that she was his younger sister who had left the village long ago and was considered a traitor for refusing to become a village guardian. This sparked Tana's interest in sword fighting, and Eris gladly became her instructor. 3 months later, when the rains had stopped, Rudius and his party were prepared to leave. With this, Rudius and his party left for the holy country of Milis, and Guise hitched a ride with them. The party arrived in the capital city of Milishan, Milis. Guise went off on his own while Rudius decided that everyone should take the day off. However, Rudius noticed a kidnapping taking place and decided to follow the kidnappers. He confronted the kidnappers, only to be surprised to see his father, Paul, as their leader. Paul explained that their home village had been caught in the teleportation disaster, and he and his party had been searching for the missing villagers and their families for the past year and a half. When Rudius told Paul about his journey from the demon continent, Paul asked Rudius why he never tried to write a letter home, or even think about the other victims of the disaster. Rudius had no answer to this and they both ended up in a fight, only to be broken up by Norn's intervention. Seeing Paul's party scorning him triggered memories of being shunned in his past life. Rudius ran away, feeling embarrassed and ashamed. Meanwhile, on Eris's side, determined to take on a goblin-slaying quest. But little did she know that this quest would lead her to an unexpected encounter with a boastful young mage named Cliff. As she was about to take on the quest, she witnessed a scene that made her pause. Cliff was in trouble and Eris quickly ran to the rescue. She had saved him. Cliff then asked her to form a party with him, and though she was hesitant, Eris reluctantly agreed. While on their way back, Eris and Cliff encountered a little girl and her guard, Therese, being attacked by a group of assassins. With no hesitation, Eris quickly charged forward and killed all of the assassins. After the battle, Therese asked Eris' name, and Eris, wanting to be more impressive than Rudius, introduced herself as Rudyard the Shepherd. With one of the assassins still alive, Rudyard interrogated him before he died and learned that the assassins were allies of the Pope, who supported the idea of coexistence between humans and demons, which was something the Temple Knights and their leader the Archbishop opposed. It was then revealed that the dead assassins were actually Cliff's tutors. Eris returned to Rudius and found him upset after his fight with Paul. Eris tried to comfort him, which Rudius was grateful for. Guise made a visit to Paul, revealing that he was part of the same party and urged him to make amends with Rudius. He reminded Paul that Rudius was still a child. The thought of what could have happened to Rudius filled Paul with dread and he decided to quit drinking. The next day, Paul and Rudius met again. The atmosphere was tense and awkward, but eventually Rudius realized that Paul misunderstood his intentions and was trying to apologize. They had a heart-to-heart and reconciled. Rudius let them know that he would look for his family after escorting Eris home, even though her family was still missing. After saying goodbye to Rudius, Paul learned from Guise that he would continue with the search for the rest of his family, traveling to places they had not checked yet. Rudius had another dream where the human god appeared and gave him instructions on how to reunite with Lilia and Aisha, Rudius' little sister. With hope in his heart, Rudius set off for the kingdom of Chiron. Upon arriving, he wrote a letter to Roxy, who was a teacher in the palace. Rudius then encountered Aisha, who was being chased by some pursuers. He saved her, but followed the human god's instructions and didn't reveal his identity. Aisha, however, thought that her brother was a pervert because she had found the box of Roxy's panties that Lilia has been saving for Rudius. Rudius was then summoned to the palace for an audience with Roxy. However, this was a trap set by the 7th Prince of Chiron, Pax. He had Lilia held hostage, and revealed that he intended to use Rudius as bait to capture Roxy, because he had become in love with her. He revealed that Roxy had left the castle a long while ago. Rudius was placed in a magic cell, where all of his magic abilities were nullified and absorbed. He had no way of escaping, and his only hope was that someone would come to his rescue. Waiting in his cell when he was suddenly met by Zenoba, the 3rd Prince of Chiron, who was a huge fan of Rudius's work. Zenoba had heard of the lifelike sculptures Rudius had made of Roxy and Rudyard, and wanted to become his apprentice. Rudius explained that only Pax could undo the seal on his cell, so Zenoba promised to take care of the situation for him. Meanwhile, Pax's guards had smuggled Richard, Eris, and Aisha into the palace in return for rescuing their families, who had been taken hostage by Pax. When Zenoba captured Pax, Aisha revealed that Zenoba was a blessed child, a person born with superhuman strength. He was known as the Decapitator Prince. Zenoba then coerced Pax into freeing Rudius, while Pax's guards refused to help upon learning that their families were safe. Lilia and Aisha were then arranged to be sent home. Rudius then gifted his forehead protector to Aisha as a keepsake. As she left, Aisha apologized to Rudius for calling him a pervert, revealing that she had known his true identity all along. Finally, Pax and Zenoba were exiled from the Chiron Kingdom due to the scandal, under the guise of studying abroad. Rudius, Eris, and Rudyard continue on their journey when they stumbled upon the dragon god, Orsted. Eris and Rudyard were overcome with fear and were unable to move, but Rudius, disregarding their warnings, stepped forward to talk with Orsted. Orsted asked Rudius about the human god, believing him to be one of his apostles, and attacked him. Eris and Rudyard tried to protect Rudius, but they were quickly defeated by Orsted, who mortally wounded him. As Rudius lay dying, he encountered the human god, who revealed to him that Orsted was afflicted with several curses, including one that made all living beings fear him. Miraculously, Rudius was not affected by it. Despite not knowing the human god's real intentions, Rudius thanked him for his help. However, instead of dying, Rudius returned to the world of the living. Rudius later learned that Orsted's companion, Nanahoshi, had interceded on his favor and convinced Orsted to save him and spare him, before the two left. During the night, Rudius reveals to Rudyard the truth about the human god, and the fact that the supered curse on him is slowly fading away. The next day, the group arrive in the ruins of Rudius' hometown, which brings back childhood memories to him. Rudyard then announces that since Rudius and Eris are now strong enough to take care of themselves, he will take his leave. Rudius and Eris bid Rudyard farewell with tears in their eyes. The party then arrives in Roa, which is also in ruins. There, Eris reunites with Ghislaine and her servant Alphonse. That night, Eris enters Rudius' tent and has sex with him. The next morning, however, Rudius wakes up to find that Eris and Ghislaine have left to an unknown location, leaving him distraught and confused. In a state of depression, he had become a recluse, secluding himself from all social interaction. His days were filled with nothingness, as he often drifted away to the past, haunted by flashbacks of his old life. Eris had gone on a journey, accompanied by her friend Ghislaine. She had set out to get stronger so that she could protect Rudius and defeat Orsted. Meanwhile, Rudyard had saved some travelers from beasts, and his heroic deeds had earned him praise, despite his identity as a supered being revealed. Zenoba and Geese were also on their own journeys, and they often thought of Rudius. Guys and Tawna were continuing to train together in Doldia village, honing their swordsmanship skills. Roxy had encountered Kishirika, and in a kind-hearted act of innocence, had paid her enormous bar tab. In exchange, Kishirika had used her demon eyes to locate the whereabouts of Rudius' family. Lilia and Aisha had successfully reunited with Paul and Norn, while Zenith was located in the labyrinth city of Rapan on the Begarit continent. Upon this information, Roxy and her party had immediately made preparations to leave for the Begarit continent. Rudius was still in a depressed state, but after having a dream about Zenith, his determination to find her was reignited. He remembered that he had a duty to fulfill, and he overcame his insecurities to continue his journey. Elsewhere, Sylphiette was trying to convince an unknown group to recruit Rudius into their ranks.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.